Hi YouTube, it's Beck here from Curated. You are now I'm coming to you from my bedroom because my kind of sewing area is so full of stuff at this point. Good news is work has started on our new premises and they say it's going to be finished in 4 weeks. I'm not sure I believe that, but it does put us in there and get organised, and with time to get organised before Fleur Woods arrive. So I'm feeling a little bit better about the timeline, a little bit more broke potentially as well. Anyway, wins and losses. I am here today to share with you my winter WIP progress. So WIP being works in progress. And I'm going to do my quilts first. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen I finished a quilt. This is my Betsy 9-patch quilt. So lots and lots. I can't remember how many, maybe I think 140 or something prints of Betsy. So I've been collecting that for years and years and years. And I hand quilted mine in a crosshatch, like so. And I really love how that kind of lets the Betsy shine. You know, of course there's pops of neon in there because I love a neon anything. And so I did ecru pearl 8 thread in a crosshatch. The quilt is backed also in Betsy, in green Betsy. You can see there in the light that the hand quilting, and there's the center seam of the quilt, of the backing. And then I bound with a pop of neon. So I bound with this one, which is a Ruby Star Society. It's a recent print, which I can't remember the name of at all. I bound both this one and my Sawtooth Star, my Betsy Sawtooth Star in it, because I kind of like them to be a matching pair. Love a mitered corner on binding. Love that it kind of lines up so beautifully. So there we go. One quilt complete. And I'm really so I kind of thought about only quilting it one way instead of in the crosshatch. And the only reason I thought about that was because I was lazy. Not lazy. Time was the issue there. So I'm really glad that I did invest the time to do both ways. And it is a snuggly, beautiful quilt that is going, that's my quilt. So it's going on my bed. It doesn't, it's just my love of Betsy fabric, and it doesn't really show, it shows nice hand quilting, but no techniques or anything. So I don't need to really take it into the shop to have it there as a display quilt. It's staying with me, so I'm thrilled with that. And then the last quilt that I have been working on in the last 2.5 months is my 4th tiny trip. 4th being F-O-R-T-H, named after a little township in Tasmania where I started this. So I have 3 of my rows together. It's 6 rows, and I still haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with the edging. I'm still toying with prairie points. I'm not sure if that's the edge of it or this is the edge of it. I love how, look how many threads are on that quilt there. I love how the little starry print from Ruby Star Society looks in there. We've got some beautiful neons there from Japan. I've been importing those for a little while. So this is where my 4th tiny trip is up to. It's half together. I now have to cut a whole heap more of the little starry squares, and cutting the squares is probably my least favorite bit of it. So might be a little bit of a pause before I go much further in this one. And I might turn you around now to show you what I've been working on with the slow stitching, and just also show a little bit more detail shots of some of the quilts potentially. Okay, so this is the 4th tiny trip quilt, And I just wanted to show you this bit of it in particular. So this is a vintage seersucker fabric in here. Most of the fabrics in this quilt have come out of my shop or out of my, well, they've all come out of my stash or my shop. So there are some vintage fabrics in here, or actually, sorry, I think Vicky might have given me that bit. I'm not quite sure. I have lots of bright fabrics in the shop. I often do little bright bundles, so look out for that if you're looking for something similar. But anyway, sorry, I was on to the seersucker. Now, when you're hand piecing, it's really easy to manipulate your corners meeting. So I don't hesitate to use fabrics that perhaps wouldn't be seen as traditional quilt fabrics in a quilt because I think they look beautiful. I love that little bit of texture in there. I have been thinking about how I might hand quilt this one, and I'm not really sure. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm thinking I might need even machine quilt it. So this quilt has a lot of fussy cutting, like you can see with the strawberries here, but you can also see I've kind of fussy cut a non-standard, like it's not, it is a repeating print, but it's a big scale repeating print. It was a Judy Newman fabric, I think, around the edge. And even like the spots are always fussy cut, and you know, the flowers are fussy cut, and the fruits here, and you know, flowers here. But so that, like, it's been really fun. I haven't traditionally loved a lot of fussy cutting because it's wasteful of material, but these are little bits, little blocks. I can't remember how big they are. I'm using a postcard project. Actually, if you want to know how big they are, you need to buy the postcard project. Not necessarily from me, it's a Jen Kingwell postcard project, but you know, another designer has come up with that dimension, which I really like. And I'm using that template. So that's where that one's up to. And then I'll just show you a little bit more. Sorry, just looking at a table that's in the corner of our bedroom that will go into the shop. I did put on some of the base circles for my needle turn applique on my new quilt design. So what that will end up looking like is like this. So, you know, it's got some wreath designs, and I've actually got some things going on in the border that's on it as well. And, you know, there's another wreath over here. So there's lots of wreaths, and there's, you know, needle turn applique flowers in it, and also piecing pieces. So I love this quilt. It is just time, and also, I guess, a lack of desire to write a pattern. I will write a pattern. I will absolutely write a pattern for it. I don't enjoy that process, and I pretty much say that every video, I think. Anyway. So here's the Gosling quilt, and that's upside down. I might put the tree up the right way because that might drive somebody crazy. So you can see here that I've quilted that, and this one over here. I haven't quite finished that one. I've got a thread and a needle somewhere in that one, but I think it really emphasizes the design beautifully. I love hand quilting for the vintage feel that it kind of adds to things, and I think this one in particular, which is such a vintage inspired quilt, from the designer Sue Garrett, and also from the use of the fabrics that I use, lots of old embroidery pieces, but lots of newer fabrics from the shop and Liberty. These are AGF, these two here, but all of those things combine to make a really beautiful vintage feel, and I think the hand quilting really adds to that. And then, the other quilt I shared with you is this one. So that's what that hand quilting, I might just go in the other way closer. So people seem to think my hand quilting is really even. It's not super even. There. I've had to redo that corner at some point, obviously. I've pulled it. And I can still see a bit of it. That's not a great area to show you. But look, it's just about the Betsy, this quilt, and I love it. So this is a new project that wasn't on my WIP list because I started it when I was at Green Door Studios, and I kind of got this part of it together and then got a bit stuck over here. If you're interested, I share that in my Green Door Studio video. Anyway, I've just been playing with some stuff and adding some things on, and I like the scale of that composition, but I need to find something white to add over here because the whiteness of this blue flower and also this piece of embroidery, this side is too kind of brown and cream comparatively. So I haven't kind of worked, like it's not fully resolved yet. So I'm still just playing with it and seeing what things I might like to add. I just cut these out before because they are so cute. Little flowers, and I thought they might be cute. There was 2 of them on a little broken doily. So that's a new thing. And then like, so things I've completed, I've got one other new thing, which I shared. This one, that's upside down, this one. So that was the needle book that I shared as well. So I've done those. And then the other 2 things that I did share in the WIPs that I have finished working on I'm just going to move you a little bit. Sorry about that if anybody gets seasickness. How do I, like that maybe? So this is made out of an old piece of quilt. I've had to patch this bit quite severely. It had lots of holes in it. So there's a piece of fabric added here. Might be an extra piece of quilt actually. It's got, you know, the previous maker's beautiful hand stitches in there. And I've not only patched here, but I've added some weave stitch. And I think that was because the seams are broken. I might have shared this before, so if I have, I'm really sorry. Little pocket, another little pocket, a page for needles, more pockets. I kind of think you can't have enough pockets. It's very simple needle book. Kind of, this one's quite, like really simple actually. I would say the most simple. And it's because I was led by the naivety of that quilt there. Like sometimes they're much more fancy, and that's because the fabric, I think, can carry that. And then last but not least, still trying to get this right for you. Maybe just move those. Is this little zipper pouch that I've finished. So mine, of course, has a neon zip because I love a neon zip. And sorry for that little malfunction. That was my very high-tech kind of setup falling apart. I'm going to buy myself a little tripod or something because I'm not very advanced at this kind of thing, but I'm quite enjoying making the YouTubes when I have time. So I'm going to buy a setup that is better. So this was a panel that I shared that I was in the middle of, and I've ended up making a zipper pouch that's got some offcuts from my Betsy Betsy 9-patch quilt backing that I used for the lining. But it turned out when I put it together that I kind of had one side that was kind of greeny blue and one side that was more pinky blue. So I decided to fold it in half and make a zipper pouch like so. My favorite bit of this whole thing is this kind of fake rosette. I've got a little bit of, sorry, you probably can hear the rain that's just started here quite heavily. Little bit of a tea cozy in here. Some French laundry labels. Lots of weaving that's been done with those mended threads that I have had online. They're amazing, I love them. Vintage yo-yos, cut up kind of, or leftover little bits of doilies, little bit of cloth tape measure, which I really like in there. And then finished off with a little zipper charm. Mine's a little ice blue ducky there. So they are all the things that I have been working on so far this winter. I feel like I've made some good progress. I would always like to make more, obviously, but you know, that's the way it is. I'm pleased that the shop is finally making some progress. So that's a winter WIP as well. And like, When I see all the things like this, I just feel such immense joy that I get to work with these beautiful textiles, I get to stitch, get to meet lovely people through this process. And I hope that you are having lots of time to stitch yourself. Okay, happy stitching, everyone.